All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our third part series here of our connected project workflow. This week we're going to be focusing on the engineer of record. So that'll kind of be our main topic. My name is David Zapka. I'm the Western Territory Manager here with SDS2. I got two other guys here with me today. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Tyler Hicks, Technical Sales Manager. Thanks for joining us.
Nathan Block, Technical Advisor Steel.
All right, very good. So we're going to go ahead and hop right into things here. So kind of just talk a little bit about the connected project workflow. What is it? So basically this is a live model interaction with all the stakeholders in a project. Allows you to access information anywhere, update information. It's always going to be live information, so there's no possibility, no chance that we're getting, out of date information, anything like that. It's all done through SDS2 and our SDS2 Edge platform, and just allows everybody to make better decisions, more informed decisions, increase the timelines on projects since everything's done live and updates right away. So a lot of benefits here. And who are the stakeholders? So stakeholders, anybody from the EOR that we'll look at today, project manager, detailer, fabricator, really anybody involved in this construction process. And things that the EOR is going to have to deal with that we'll look at and kind of focus on a little bit today is going to be things like RFIs, whether it's a field issue, fab issue, design issue, changes. And then we'll look at the model approval process a little bit today. We've done some presentations kind of on the road, when we could go on the road a while back with the AISC kind of promoting model approval, and a lot of people adopted that and really enhances the process. But one of the hurdles always was that the information wasn't necessarily always up to date, wasn't live, with the EOR being in one location, detailers being in another location. Edge really eliminates that problem, allows everybody to collaborate live no matter where you're at, whether it's across the country, same office, across the state. Everybody's accessing the same information live. So we eliminate that hurdle with model that you always might have ran into with model approval. And again, just hitting on it again, the key here is all the live 3D model interaction and collaboration. So we'll hop into the demo. If anybody has any questions, keep those till the end. There's a questions pane on your GoToWebinar screen that you can punch those questions into then. So I'm going to flip over to SDS2 Edge. I've already got it opened up here. This model probably looks familiar to some of you who attended our previous webinars. In those, we kind of focused on the outsourced detailer and kind of went through some field changes, things like that, how a detailer might handle that. If you're familiar with the colors, so you might remember that we had some of these colors set up. Yellow's been fab complete. We'll focus in on kind of this bottom portion of the structure here, in this dark purple or maroonish type color. Indicates to me that these are have been sent to approval. They've come back as approved already. So as the EOR, I know that's approved. I could even hide that stuff if I wanted to. Orange is going to tell me that it's been submitted for approval, so I'll kind of focus in on that a little bit. And then the pink or magenta color, that indicates to me that I have an RFI. So, hey, you know what? Got to get those RFIs answered, make sure that we get those taken care of. So I'm actually in what we would call a SDS2 approval station here using that license. So, I have, that gives me certain functionality that I'm going to need as an approval or as somebody reviewing the model. There's different tools in here to make that particular process and that workflow easier. So that's why some of the buttons and such may look a little different to some of you familiar with SDS2. What I'm going to do is open what we call an approval tool. So this really facilitates the model approval process and makes that a lot easier. Essentially kind of just gathers most of the information that you're looking for as a approver in this one small screen here, and then I can update my approval status here as well when I go through that. So, you know, you got your basic information that you're going to want to verify and approve here within this screen. One thing I do notice here on this particular member, I have an RFI checked and it's turned red. So you know what? I want to check out that RFI. I'm going to go ahead and hit the folder here, and it's going to bring up the RFI that's attached to this member within the model. Now, this RFI was created using our built-in RFI creator that includes the 3D information. So not necessarily as relevant since I do have access directly to the native model, but you know, a good handy thing if we're not connected like this, so that I can interact with that. And essentially in this particular case, you can see at the bottom here, we've got a description of the problem, kind of a question that we're asking here about that WT. So maybe some interference, maybe we want to flip that WT stem. Hey, engineer, is this okay? So what I'm going to do is I'll come back in here and I'm going to access the custom properties where this RFI information is at. Again, I get to it right from that screen. I'll go ahead and update some info in here, and then on the detailer's end, he's probably got the status set up so that that alerts him that, hey, the engineer answered the question I had on this RFI. I can go ahead and check that out then. So I'll just go ahead and say this. And Nate, you know, I know you've sat in the chair, detailer chair fairly recently. Tell me a little bit about the RFI process with SDS2. How can we facilitate as a detailer to the engineer the RFI process?
Yeah, definitely. So, and I know we talk about this a lot, but there's a huge advantage being a detailer with SDS2. We don't require any plug-in by a secondary software or import or export to finish connections. We already have that automated intelligence built into our software. And so in the RFI process, rather than just pointing out a problem and asking, you really actually get to provide a solution that fits your standards and your shop capabilities and completely changes how you word that RFI. So you're saying, here's my solution, do you approve, yes or no, rather than just asking the question. And you're really steering the ship at that point rather than allowing the engineer to decide what's best for you as a detailer or a shop. And that advantage is really only had with SDS2. It's the only software out there that can do that.
Very good. So yeah, you know, provide a solution and look for verification rather than leaving that open-ended question and you know, letting them come up with a solution on their end. So probably going to get faster response time, everything like that then, right?
Definitely, absolutely. Yep.
Very good. So looking back at the model here, you can see as Nate was talking, I was talking there, Tyler went ahead and I answered that RFI. I didn't do anything. I can already see here my color updated on that brace. The stem is up, so now I can, you know, get back into that if I want. So just great example of how everybody's collaborating. All the information is changing live. Really going to speed up that timeline, improve the communication process, everything. Now, looking at this approval tool a little bit more here, you know, going back, so I can just pick another member here, load up the information specific to that member. verify that, and when everything looks good, I'm going to go ahead and approve that, give it my initials, the dates, and I'll go ahead and set that info. And you can see that updates that information again here. So I'm going to go ahead and approve that. You know, go through. I could do multiple members at the same time if I wanted to. Other things that I might be looking for, maybe I'm verifying the connection information. Maybe I need to review the calcs. So when I load that information in here, I have access to the design calcs for that particular member right here. Some of you may be familiar. This probably looks familiar to some of you. All of our design calc information, and I can come down to the calculation summary, get my connection details as far as angle sizes, plate sizes, welds, all that. We have our limit states, and if I really want to start drilling down further, I have that information. I can click on that, get down to the longhand information, how the software actually arrived at the result it did on those connections. So good stuff there. You know, I can even access the drawings then as well to review the drawings. So be kind of a little bit more traditional process here where I'm reviewing the drawings, but always still necessary in some cases probably. You know, since I'm in this approval license, I can't change anything. Software is not going to allow me to change anything, but I can review everything. I can update the status information. I can review the drawings. I can even comment directly on these drawings. I can make notes to that to communicate back to the detailer with this. And that's going to place, when I do that, it places the information that I'm adding onto what we call a comment layer. And that comment layer is something that doesn't actually get printed out. Okay, so I don't want to see on my PDFs that get sent out to the shop, I don't want all the approval comments on there. I just want the fabrication information. So when the software goes and prints these or creates these PDFs, ignores those comment layers so that downstream we're not seeing all of those comments done by the approver or whoever it may be. So, but again, you know, I can edit different stuff and review all that in here. So even have access to the erection drawings. So if I need to review the erection drawings, I have that information in here as well that I can review. So, you know, that's a pretty high level look at some of this stuff, but kind of gives us an idea of that communication. We're not digging real deep into it here with these webinars, but high level look, how I can set status, review status. You know, I can view all the custom properties in here. As you saw that screen before, there's tons of information as far as RFIs go, engineer approval, just internal tracking information. Then we drill down, we can even see we've got tons of tags through our custom properties for the detailer, for the fabricator. You can set load numbers, different things like that. So just a ton of data within the custom properties there. And then you get down into editing members, reviewing members individually. I can view the approval statuses right in here, maybe, you know, fabrication dates, things like that. So that's kind of what we have for you today. You know, pretty quick, high level, like I said. If you do have questions, go ahead and punch those in the questions pane there on that GoToWebinar toolbar, and we'll do our best to answer questions that you have here. So let's see, waiting on questions here a little bit. So Tyler, I'm running this approval seat here, or SDS2 approval license here. What's the difference, Tyler, in the approval license versus like a full detailing license?
So with the approval license, it's going to be, you're not going to be able to delete out any members. You're not going to be able to add anything. What you're going to be able to do is you'll be able to, view all the drawings, zoom around the model. You can edit members and view all that information there, pull dimensions, all that kind of fun stuff. And then you can add comments as well. So the only thing that keeps it from being a read-only model is the fact that you could add comments to the comment layers. Everything else, you don't have to worry about messing anything up. That information will be there, and you can access it through, the ruler, through overlaying 2D drawings in 3D space. You can kind of see David going through here doing that, and that's the station he's in right now. So that's what it'll allow you to do.
Okay. And let's see. Yeah, so another question here about reports. Can you run a report of the approved members and any comments attached? So yeah, we provide a number of different reports out of the box. So when I come into the reports here, tons of different reports that I can access. I can run all of those. So one of the benefits or great things about this approval license is it doesn't allow you to physically change that model, but anything you need to update as far as status, like Tyler said, you could do, and then just extracting data like that allows you to do that with all those different reports. There's different, here's like a model review status report. I'll go ahead and run that quick, and I can just grab, oops, sorry there, I hit the wrong button. I should be able to just grab information and run that Excel file. I don't have Excel, well, I guess I do have Excel here. So, but yeah, tons of different reports, different stuff like that. So, let's see. Question on trials. If you need a trial of SDS2, anything like that, I would suggest reaching out to our sales team, sales@sds2.com, or you can give any one of us a call as well. Question on training. So training, yeah, we provide all sorts of training. We've actually just recently opened up our online training for free, I believe for a couple of months. That's the full detailer training. But as far as training on approval, let us know what you need on that. We do that kind of on a more on-demand basis, but we have all sorts of videos on YouTube and different things as well. So yeah, like I said, on the approval training, let us know. We'll cater to your needs there. Hey, we're running short on questions today. We must have done a really good job, guys.
Well, one thing that I just wanted to say is, this whole process isn't new. Like David said earlier, we went around with AISC years ago promoting this model review process to get things done. And basically it was out of the need and the desire to compete against other trades as far as concrete or things like that, to kind of, shorten that timeline to get things out the door. Since then, with Edge being able to collaborate like this online, I know of people that, have been doing this for years and just the ability is there to take advantage of it. Nate mentioned with the RFI, you have that RFI. I mean, the old way of a detailer spending 15 to 20 minutes creating the RFI, writing it down. Hopefully the engineer is going to understand and it's well written. And then, that goes to the engineer and hopefully they interpret it right and you get the answer back. That could be 2 weeks. This system here, and I know what other people have done is, hey, I've got a couple questions. Let's log in together at this time and let's just review the model. So it can save a lot of time and energy on both sides to really get that project out the door to reduce those timelines.
Very good. Yep. And I'll you know, again, we kind of mentioned it up front in that, but the key to all of this is that live data. So there's no pushing information, pulling information, no checking things in and out. It's all live as I make changes. So never run the chance of something being out of date. I always know it's up to date, and huge benefit that way. So again, if you got questions on pricing, getting the software, anything like that, please contact our sales staff, sales@sds2.com, or give us a call here. Here's a good question. Can the GC be involved? Nate, you want to take that one? You've been pretty quiet over there.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. I mean, the more people you can get involved, that's kind of been the whole point of the series, is getting people involved into the model and coordinating everything. So absolutely, you can bring the general contractor in. It's really up to you who you want to bring and give access to the model. We can set that up in a variety of ways, but yeah, I definitely know plenty of detailers and fabricators that bring GCs involved, and we get that set up, we get them online, and that way you have that real-time coordination, just like Tyler just said, and that's what this whole webinar is about, is just the real-time coordination. The more people you have involved in the model, the more educated everyone is. It just makes every response quicker, and everyone's on the same page, and at the end of the day, the project's getting done quicker, and that's what everybody cares about, and it's done more accurately as well. So.
Yeah, very good. Another question here on the licenses. So, you're going to need a detailing license to create the model, to do the actual detailing side of things. But like I mentioned earlier, I'm running our approval license. So that approval license allows me to review the model that's been created by the detailer, update the status information, update the custom properties like I was doing there. So I can't physically change the model. I can't physically change the drawings because I don't, as the EOR or the approver, I'm not wanting to change that and do that. I'm simply using this as a tool to communicate back to the detailer. Then we also have different licenses. We have licenses for the erector. So the erector could be in here with an erector license, adding their cranes in there, doing their site planning, getting critical lift documentation. All that can be done at the same time as everything else going on. So yeah, each kind of different licenses serve the different purposes of each role that can be involved. So here's somebody asking kind of a question about, maybe having a kickoff meeting. Do we need these processes to be a part of the specifications and that? Tyler, do you got any input on that?
Yeah, I mean, to have the expectations set amongst all the project partners going in is definitely going to help. Because to pass this information back and forth, you saw David do some things on his end, and I went in on my end to make some things change and highlight. So you kind of want to have some expectations set going in as far as, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to try to do this. Here's the information that the erector wants to send back and forth. Here's what the detailer can do, and what, fab, GC, whoever. But just try to set some basic guidelines going forward and what kind of information you want to pass. And that'll help out a lot because you're basically just setting that expectation. No one's caught late in the game or anything like that with, well, I didn't know you needed me to do this. So if you can set those expectations up front and we've been through this, we can help with that. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions. But yeah, just get those expectations set up front and things go a lot smoother.
So another question is about this process. If you're not connected on the web, so we've been doing everything on SDS2 Edge here. So you know, the benefit of SCS2 Edge is that everything's out in the cloud. We provide a lot of additional services along with just hosting that data and providing you the virtual workspace. So you can, the idea behind that is, especially with an EOR, detailer's typically not in the same office as the EOR. So traditionally, when they're not in the same office and you're running this process, what you end up having to do is you end up having to pass models back and forth. You know, the detailer is going to be making changes on his copy of the model and passing it over. As the EOR makes changes on that copy, the detailer is still making changes, and then it's a back and forth. So the problem there is you can end up with out of date information, and it's a lot of maintenance and passing information back and forth. We do provide some tools to update just status information on different copies of the model if you need, but kind of it's kind of clunky, if you will. So that's really where SCS2 Edge comes into play, and being on there, everything's in the same location. You don't have to pass models back and forth. Everybody is connected, everything's live, and we eliminate kind of that clunky process. So yeah. Questions are kind of slow today. That's all right. Hopefully we got everything answered. We're coming up on about our half-hour time limit here, just a couple minutes short, but that's all right. You know, hope everybody learned something. If you have more questions, need something else, reach out to us through email, give us a phone call or what have you. And, you know, we got a couple more of these scheduled coming up that will focus on the fabricator role and the erector role here in the future. So look forward to having everybody at those webinars here, and see you then.
Thanks everybody.